Henry Atlamount Moody was an American writer. He was born in 1842, served in the Confederate Army during the Civil War, was a physician at the Bailey Springs Resort, and physician and professor at the State Medical College in Mobile, Alabama. He married Martha C. Kaiser, and they had 2 children. In 1903, he addressed a crowd of several thousand at the dedication of the Florence, Alabama Confederate Monument, citing the lost cause of the Confederacy while making some rather distasteful comments. He died in 1916. His only book was the 1898 The City Without a Name. In 1897 in Chicago, a young man comes to see his father, who opens a locked and previously never opened cabinet and shows him a painting of a beautiful dead woman, telling him it is the young man's mother and that by being her son he is the heir of the throne of the Incas. The elder man, only ever identified as Huron, speaks of how 20 years before he joined the construction of a railroad in Peru, and while there heard of a city without a name from the natives. Occasionally one of the natives would be summoned to this mysterious place by means of a token, and it meant the annihilation of their entire family where they refused to go. Curious to find this city, he contrives for himself the guise of a fake Inca, and gets a bunch of natives all riled up and willing to serve him and go with him anywhere. However, once they get close to the city, of these men only one named Juanaro is permitted to accompany Huron, for no real reason as he never does anything, as they are led into the hidden Incan city in the land of Amamayu. There Huron meets the Inca Hualpacapac, who immediately becomes his friend, alongside the Curaca or Commander Quantal. He also meets the 2 perfidious princes Anahuac and Capal, and glimpses the Inca sister, the chief virgin of the sun Amaru, from afar. On one of the first days of his friendship with the Inca, he sees Hualpacapac use mirror lenses to burn a man alive for loving a virgin of the sun, and reluctantly has his lover thrown to a giant plant which strangles, smothers and tears her apart in view of many onlookers. Despite the brutal murder of these 2 people simply for being in love, Huron never really disagrees with it all that much. In light of future events, that is quite hypocritical. For you see, he has fallen in love with the chief virgin of the sun herself, and as he keeps visiting Hualpacapac, he keeps asking to be sent away because of the love for his sister, and wondering why Amaru, who has never seen at the same time as her brother, and has a voice incredibly similar to his, keeps mysteriously disappearing whenever the Inca is in the room. It takes him a good long time to figure out, but not until the very end of the book like some writers will be capable of. They fall in love as Amaru tells him how, when her brother died 10 years ago, she chucked his body down a pit and began to pretend to be him, so she could avoid being married to Anahuac or Capal. But she does plan to marry Huron, so she contrives the Inca, i.e. herself, to name him the new ruler in case the Inca and the 2 princes were to die, and then goes off to do the ceremonial corn planting, during which she fakes the Inca's disappearance and frames Anahuac for the murder, which he was planning to do anyway. After contriving the story of Hualpacapac's death and burning Anahuac with mirrors, Amaru marries Huron as he is made the new ruler of Amamayu, and tries to make the people learn how to use the telegraph, and to learn to write in Morse code without knowing the alphabet. After this rather tedious section, Amaru is killed by poison when his enemies try to assassinate him, and he reacts by ordering all the conspirators' entire families wiped out in a massacre he freely calls as such, but then says it was all legal, and that apparently is enough to justify him ordering the extrajudicial slaughtering of 6 entire families, almost assuredly including the elderly, women and children, though the novel pretends to not be aware of that. This tainted my enjoyment of the book in hindsight a bit, and made the rest of the novel rather hard to focus on. Briefly, Huron takes his son to Chicago, and the latter agrees to go back to his mother's people and take the throne which is being guarded by Quantal. One of the last things Amaru said before she died was how she didn't like a mere peasant to rule the empire for any time at all, even to guard it for her own son.